Mike is 20 mil richer right now. So of course I'm not sad for him. Am I sad for Jake Paul? Of course not. Jake Paul. So I started to think about it. Why was this so weird, so sad? There was like a weird feeling about it. You feel dirty watching it, right? And I came to the conclusion that I'm sad for the country, really. I'm sad for the things we find to be entertaining. The things collectively we've decided to idolize people that I feel like in any other generation would be considered low lives, people with low character. In any other generation, these people would be considered clowns and not even relevant. But in this generation, this fight kind of showed us who we are as a people, in my opinion. I know maybe I looked too much into it or whatever, but I remember turning on the Netflix and it was there, so I was like, I might as well, right? It's free. So I click on it. We did have some trouble buffering and stuff like that, like everybody else, but not as much. Luckily, I got to see the whole fight. But you start to get this feeling around the second round, the first and second. You start to get this feeling like, what are we doing here? What are we watching? 60 million people tuned in to watch Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. I don't know if that's a record or not. I don't know if what that means. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's high up there. Netflix couldn't handle it, and that's either a testament to how much they suck, or it's really a lot of people, right? But you start to look at this, like, these are American fighters. One of them, very talented at one point in his life, was very talented and made his living off of his natural born talents, off of his ability to not only intimidate people, but to go in there and deliver. He was fast. I'm talking about Mike Tyson, of course. He was fast. He was powerful. He was an unstoppable force of nature for about 5 rounds and for about 3 years, maybe. To me, Mike Tyson has always represented, it has embodied, in my opinion, the flame. The flame that ignites something. But he himself is more like a spark, really. Because it burns bright, but it's very short-lived. And so yeah, that's what I think about that. But yeah, like I said, I'm not sad for Mike. Like I said, Mike is 20 mil richer. I felt weird because we were watching it for some reason. Because millions of people decided to tune in and watch this. And it reminded me of a lot of things in history. It reminded me of the fall of a lot of empires. And it reminded me of, because listen, I'm one of the guys that says more power to Jake. Jake wants to, bring more eyes to the face of boxing, and he's doing it. Showing a way, I guess, this is good. But then at the same time, you got to realize that the type of fights that we're going to be getting is going to be, more people that are opportunists. Now, a lot of people are going to get mad at Jake Paul for being an opportunist and humiliating Mike Tyson in front of billions of people. But Mike Tyson is the one that signed the contract. Mike Tyson was the one willing to humiliate himself for a couple of bucks. And it goes to show you that in the eyes of a lot of Americans and a lot of humans in general, but mainly America, because America, in my opinion, is the one that kind of tells the world how to do things. Clout is and money is over everything. Clout and money over everything. And I feel like this is what this kind of represented. It represented a clowning of someone who built his career versus someone that was that made it through clout, that made it through scandal and scandalous nature, and through making noise and making people hate him and making people tune in to see him get beat, and I knew he was gonna win. If you see my final take on the matter, I didn't predict it, but I did tell you all the things that was wrong with Mike Tyson coming into the fight. And I felt like me saying all that was enough for you guys to understand that I thought Mike Tyson was going to lose, but I just didn't want to say it. I didn't want to say it for two reasons. For two reasons, I didn't predict the fight. Number one, I didn't feel like it was worth predicting. And I was right. When the fight happened, I realized I was right for not predicting the fight. For not wasting my time or the few abilities that I have to predict a fight of this nature. And I'm glad that I didn't do that. Something told me don't do it. Don't predict this fight. And I'm glad that I didn't, because it wasn't a fight. It was, in the first round, Mike Tyson kind of rushed him a little bit with the jab. And Jake Paul just backed up like a regular person. Nothing special, nothing flashy, but you could tell Mike Tyson was not 100%. You could tell Mike Tyson's legs were not good. And I told you, I don't know if I told you in the first video, like a lot of the clips where he's shadow boxing and where he's hitting the pads, they're about a minute or less, and then they have to cut it. Because Mike's huffing and puffing. He's not doing well. He did it for the money. Like, you start thinking about it. It's like, did he do it? Did he do it to beat up Jake Paul? Did he do it because he wants to prove that he can still do it? And he said it in an interview himself. He's like, fuck legacy. I don't care about legacy. Who cares about legacy? You think people care about us when we die? The answer is yes, by the way. The reason he was saying that is because he wants an excuse to humiliate himself for money. He was hyping himself up. That's the type of guy Mike is. Mike is always going to hype himself up so that he could go in the ring and do what he has to do to get the job done. Now, it used to be him saying stuff like, you know, I'm the best ever. I'm the most ruthless and most vicious fighter that's ever been. No one can stop me. I'm the best ever. But in this case, he didn't say none of that. He said, who cares about legacy? When you die, who even cares about you? Imagine thinking that. Imagine thinking about legacy when you're dead. Now, the mentality you give people with those sayings, with saying something like that, is, who cares? Just do what you want. Just make money. Just make clout. Be scandalous. Humiliate yourself if you have to for the money. Humiliate yourself if you want to for the clout. Because it doesn't matter. When you die, you die. That's the mentality that Mike Tyson was giving us in this whole ordeal. Now, you could agree with that if you want to. I'm not telling you how to think. But when I was tuning into the fight, when I turned on the Netflix and I looked at my screen, I felt dirty. I felt weird. I felt like I was watching something that meant more than just two guys, performing or whatever. And I'm not one for conspiracy, but a lot of people always say, oh, it's a humiliation ritual. That's what this felt like. It felt like what people believe they see sometimes. Oh, humiliation ritual. I feel like this was a display of what America is going to be in the future, in the next 4, maybe 8 years. You know, people that actually built it with their backs. People that actually did the hard work are going to be taken over by people that are richer, that have more clout, that have more money. And they're just going to take it. You know what this reminds me of? I don't know if you guys seen Gladiator, the first one. Not Gladiator 2, I haven't seen that one yet. But Gladiator with Joaquin Phoenix and what's the other guy's name? I forgot his name, but yeah, but those guys. And in the movie, there's this emperor. I forgot his name, but that emperor, I actually heard his story, his real story. I forgot. It's the same guy that's in the movie. It's Marcus Aurelius, his son. And in the movie, he kills his father so that he could be emperor. Now, I don't know if that's real in the real story, but he becomes emperor, and you could tell that he always wanted to be a gladiator. He always wanted to be one of the boys, right? He always wanted to be kind of like Jake Paul, a real boxer. And that's who he reminds me of. He reminds me of a rich boy, a guy who was born into wealth. I know a lot of people are going to say, nah, he wasn't. He kind of was. He kind of was. But he wants to be a gladiator, right? He wants to be a real fighter, but everybody knows he's not. He's just a rich boy. He's an emperor. He's the son of an emperor, now an emperor himself. And so he makes games. He wants to entertain people. He wants to give people the spectacle of being a warrior. Because a gladiator in itself is not really a warrior. He's not really a man that can actually kill people. He's just a fake warrior, WWE guy, similar to Jake Paul, right? And he wants to beat the champion, the best of the best, which is in the movie is I don't know if it's Commodus or what's his name? His name is Maximus. I forgot his name. Maximus something. And I hope I'm not butchering people's name and mixing them up because mixing them up because I know that Maximus something, I forgot his name. But he wants to fight him because he knows everybody loves him. Everybody loves that guy, so if I beat that guy, everybody's gonna love me. Yay! That's how it works, right? But he does something before he goes out there. He does something to him, right? He stabs him in the kidney, right? He stabs him in the kidney. If he would have stabbed him in the solar plex, he wouldn't even be able to get up. He stabs him, on the side, just so that he could slowly die. And it could look like he's winning the fight, right? And then everybody's gonna love him. Well, it turns out that he dies, and he gets killed by one of the guys he wanted to be like. One of the guys that he respected. Now, the real story here is that these people die by the hand. Well, they don't know he's died by the hand that they want to be like, but the people that they admire, the people that they love, the people that they idolize and they want to be like, they die by that hand. Now, it's not always going to happen. It would be poetic if it does, but actually, the guy in Gladiator, that's how it happened to him. Not just in the movie, but in real life. He always wanted to be part of the people. He always wanted to please the people, and he wanted to be one of the boys, one of the gladiators. And at the end, he gets killed by one of the gladiators. That's the actual real story, but I forgot. It's not as it's not like in the movie, but it's pretty similar. But that's who Jake Paul reminds me of. He reminds me of Joaquin Phoenix's character. He reminds me of that guy. He's just a rich boy who wants to be recognized as a tough guy. But we all know he's not a tough guy. Even if he beats up tough guys, we know he's not a tough guy because most of the tough guys he's beating them with an asterisk. Right? Most of them are older. Most of them are past their prime. Right? Some of them aren't even supposed to be in that sport. They're MMA fighters. So they're like fish out of water. And people actually idolize this guy, Jake Paul. And listen, I'm not mad at Jake Paul. I'm just telling you guys what he represents. And I'm making you decide what the fuck you're going to do. I mean, it's up to you. I don't hate Jake Paul because to me, he's just a fish in a cesspool. He's just a fish swimming in a cesspool. So it's not the fish's fault that he's fast and that he's the fastest fish in the cesspool. No, it's not his fault. It's the system. The system is fucked. And that's what I was looking at when I was looking at this fight. I was looking at this fight and I was thinking, we're fucked. This is and the way they were talking too, the truth is out. The truth is finally out. Like he said that at the end. Hey man, a lot of good things are happening. The truth is finally out. Good things are coming. And I was like, what the this is symbolic of bad things to me, bro. To me, this is like a bad omen. I was looking at this shit. I was like, dude, like, we tuned into this. We tuned in for this shit. And the whole thing, like, stinks, bro. It stinks. And for those of you thinking, oh, he should fight this guy, he should fight Canelo, he should... Bro, listen. Listen to me. Listen to me. Listen to me. Okay? He's not going to fight anybody relevant unless he's getting paid top dollar. This is why he's calling out... this is why he's calling out Canelo. Because he knows against Canelo, at least if he loses and he gets knocked out, at least he's gonna get paid top dollar, bro. He's gonna go out getting paid top dollar. And it just goes to show, money and clout is everything. Clarissa Shields, after the fight, was like, yo, why don't you just fight him? Yo, Canelo, he calling you out. Just fight him. Get paid and fight him. Right? Two things are involved in this situation. Number one, clout. Right? Because Jake Paul has built his career on clout. And he's only going to be mentioned alongside these champions because of clout. Not because of anything he did. Because I'll tell you right now, if I was to beat up an elderly man that was once really good at whatever, nobody would give me credit for it. And nobody should give me credit for it. You know? But, like I said, in today's day and age, it's about clout and money. And nothing else matters. So when people listen to Clarissa Shields saying that, they're like, yeah, she's right. I mean, that's basically 99.9% of people, in my opinion. Because I was looking last night, and in the stadium, it was packed. So people tuned into this shit. Now, of course, afterwards, they kind of felt bad. They were like, oh, damn. Maybe this is a wake-up call to people. Maybe this would be like, okay, like, what are we doing here? Because that's what I was thinking. I was like, bro, what are we doing? Oh, but it's bringing more eyes to boxing. What kind of eyes? Eyes that are going to expect shit like this? Because if you're going to expect more shit like this, then we don't want you here. You know? We don't want people like that. We have people like that already. We don't want them. Now Tank Davis is talking about fighting him. Everybody's talking about fighting him, except for Canelo. I hope Canelo stands his ground and he realizes that it's about more than just money. Yes, it's about money. Cool, yes. But money can't be the top priority, because then you lose, bro. You lose yourself. Look at Mike. Look at Mike. Look at him. He says it's not about legacy. And look at him. You want to be like that? He says, fuck legacy. Meanwhile, when I was growing up, people told me that it was about what you do in life. Right? That people are going to remember. One of my cousins died a couple of years ago. About 3 years ago. And every time something funny happens, every time, I'm having a good time, every time I'm driving, I always remember him. And I remember the good times that we had together. And it's very rare that I cry. It's very rare that I'm sad when I remember him. It's always happy. It's always good times. And you know why? Because we had a lot of good times. We had all good times. We rarely had any bad times. And the bad times that we did have, I think about him a little bit, but he knows that I love him. He knows that I love him. Because our memories are full of love. But in my opinion, listen, Tyson was never really a hero of mine. Okay, Tyson was never really a hero of mine. I gotta say it. He was a iconic figure because of his personality and because of he was just everywhere. Back in the '90s, he was everywhere. He was in commercials, Nike commercials. He was in cereal commercials that I can remember. I don't know if it was him or the other Michael. He was on TV all the time. He was referenced in video games. You know, um, he was just everywhere. So he was an iconic figure. So of course, in that sense, he's going to be, imprinted in my mind. But now what I'm going to remember from him is two things. Number one, legacy doesn't matter. And number two, you were willing to humiliate yourself, to do a humiliation ritual, and throw all that legacy away for 20 mil. No, I mean, maybe that makes sense to you guys. Right? Maybe that makes sense to you guys, and that's fine. I'm just letting you guys know what I'm gonna remember him by. Um, and then the thing is, when that happens, you start thinking about other things that he did in the past. You know what I mean? And then it's other things start making more sense. Um, the reason he was never a boxing hero of mine is because I knew more about boxing by the time, you know, um, by the time I was like 11 or 12. I knew more about the boxing game to know that, Mike Tyson wasn't really that great to me personally. Um, why do people get so close to my car when they pass by? Um, and the reason for that is because, when he faced the tough opposition, like I said, Mike Tyson wasn't really that great. He lost to Lennox Lewis, top opposition. He lost to Holyfield, top opposition. All of the big dogs he lost against, except for like I forgot his name. What's his I forgot his name. The guy with a good jab. Holmes. Holmes. His first name is something. Holmes. Um. Yeah, he beat him. He was top of position. So, but other than that, I really don't remember anybody. Anybody that. By the way, this has the record for the biggest age gap. Um. Well, the biggest age gap when it comes to boxing. You know what I mean? I was gonna say not when it comes to dating though, because I've seen some shit. Oh God, probably gonna get demonetized. But anyways, that's what I think about this fight, man. That's what came to mind when I was thinking about this fight. But you guys let me know what you guys think. Um, but yeah, I mean, and the reason it worried me when I saw this is not just because of boxing, because boxing is a microcosm of what's going on in the real world in this country. This was a bad sign to me. I saw a lot of bad things in that fight, and in the post-fight interview, the way they were talking, the way they disrespected Mike, um, the way people were talking, like the interviews they had with the other fighters. Amber Rose pissed me off. Um, it's just a bad. It feels like this is what it feels like. It feels like I don't belong in this country anymore, or in this world, in this planet. Because if this is what we're doing, I don't think this is for me anymore. I'm serious. Because that means that anybody with high level clout and a lot of money can do whatever they want, and can manufacture um, greatness. And it seems like most people will go along with it. Yeah, you're the greatest. But it doesn't really mean anything, you know? And I just feel like, bro, like, what the way? And it's the same thing in politics, too. Like, you could tell people, hey, free health care for all. Um, all of our essentials should be met because we have plenty of tax dollars. Like, just think about it. We have plenty of tax dollars. We take so much from you, but we don't give you anything in return. Let's start giving people their essentials. Let's start giving people free health care. You could run on that and still lose to somebody that has more clout than you and more money than you. That's it. It's the same thing. It's the same thing, bro. Just that yeah, people don't want to realize that. Like seriously, like you could have a better plan forward. And if the other guy says we gotta own the libs or we gotta own the Republicans, they'll vote for you on that, on pure clout, on pure hate for the other. And you ask some people, hey, dude, we're doing bad, the economy, whatever. And they're like, yeah, but at least we get to own the libs. Bro, you can't feed yourself, bro. What are you talking about? And you start thinking about it, bro, I don't think I belong in this planet, bro. And the more I see like things like that, I'm like, I'm from another I'm from another era, and I'm not even saying I'm better. I feel like I'm starting to get old, and the things that used to matter don't matter no more. And it's just, and I start thinking about the falls of empires, like the Roman Empire, the way they fell, and the way they started idolizing, celebrities over, wise men. They started to listen to the celebrities more. This is the beginning of the end, in my opinion. And I felt like this fight was almost like a bad omen, like a kind of like a symbol of where we are in America today and what's to come for the next 8 years, bro. Jeez. Maybe I'm looking too much into it, or maybe Tyson's loss actually hurt me that much, which it shouldn't, because like I said, I'm not a big fan of his. Um, and also, he won a lot of money, but for some reason, this got me, bro. It's like, and I started thinking, why is this bothering me so much? Do I really like Mike Tyson like that? No, it's a symbol for me. For me, I started realizing this is like a symbol of where we are today, and it made me feel dirty. It made me feel like this is what we are, bro. And it started all clicking. It's like, yeah, Today's day and age, if you got clout and you got money, you got everything. You're willing to humiliate yourself in front of thousands of people, hundred thousands of people, billions of people, in order for you to get some money and some clout. But anyways, hope you guys have a good rest of your day.